Hello and welcome back to Matt Hayes' Tottenham blog and to another episode of Transfer Talk. Now, I'm sure we've all heard the news last night that Tottenham have agreed a deal to sign Tanguy Ndombele from Lyon, and we're also really close to the signing of Jack Clarke. So before I get into the video, if you want more content like this with regards to the transfer window and much more when the season starts, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and please like the video. Thank you. So the news broke last night that Tottenham have finally agreed a deal with Lyon for the signing of Tanguy Ndombele. And according to Sky Sports News, that fee is in the region of £65 million, which is obviously smashing our club record from what we spent on Davinson Sanchez 2 years ago. So, Ndombele has been a target for the club since 2017, but he's made a prime target when Moussa Dembele left in January of this year. So he's someone that the club have been looking at for a while. And, you know, maybe not signing him last year has cost us a lot because he was signed from Amiens for £7 million last year. And now all of a sudden that's gone up to 65. It's a massive jump in price. So maybe that was one of the players Pochettino wanted last year, but Levy just didn't get the deal done for some reason. We don't know. But it's an absolutely massive fee, especially for Tottenham. And, you know, it'll be good to see him at the club because he's been a player who's been subject to interest from teams like Juventus and Manchester United. So he's definitely a really good player that some of the big teams have been looking at. So that it can only mean good things. He's probably coming in as a replacement for Moussa Dembele. And in looking at his style of play and his stats, he's a really, really similar player to Dembele. And it's good that we're getting someone like that in because we missed Dembele a lot, even before he left, because of those consistent injuries. You know, we were missing his presence in the midfield. And you kind of saw it with players like Dyer and Sissoko, their form not quite being where it could have been. Because, you know, when you're missing a player like Moussa Dembele, the players who are around him are going to suffer because he was such a good addition to the team. In possession, Tanguy Ndombele is one of the best. Was one of the best in the French league last year. His dribbling was one of his best traits. He completed 6 dribbles per game with a 90% completion rate, which for a holding midfielder is absolutely insane. His passing is one of the things that you can look at was maybe better than Moussa Dembele. Dembele was known for beating 3 or 4 men and then just kind of passing it off to the side, or just keeping an easy pass to keep the game going. But Ndombele, he looks for that forward pass. He looks to get attacks going. And he's really good in making that transition from defence to attack, which is something that we desperately need in our squad. Because Moussa Sissoko has kind of been that player for us this season, where he's picked up possession deep, he's beaten men, and then he's tried to pass it off. But we all know, unfortunately, with him, the final ball has been lacking a lot. So it's good to get Tanguy Ndombele in there so he can get that final ball. That's what he's kind of known for, that transition from defence to attack, which is crucial in any team, in any game. You know, it's how you win football. Ndombele for 65 million. I mean, it's, as fans, like the fee doesn't really make much of a difference to us, but when you look at the fact that he was bought for 7 million last year, you can't question it a bit. But look, we're signing a player. It's a club record fee. Daniel Levy obviously realised, look, he needs to do this. He needs to get players in. He needs to make Pochettino happy, and I'm just happy that we're signing such a good player. The deal, as I said, is £65 million. According to Sky Sports News, he's going to have a medical in the next couple of days, and if all goes well there, as we expect it would, he'll sign a 5-year deal with Tottenham. His wages, there's been nothing about that, but I imagine again he'll smash that wage structure, and he might be up there with Harry Kane and £200,000, or who knows, maybe even more. Massive statement from Daniel Levy, absolutely massive. And when you look at the likelihood of that Lo Celso deal as well, there hasn't been much in the last week or so, but it looks like it's slowly going towards us signing Lo Celso. And looking at it, if we are to sign the two of them, it does seem to suggest that Eriksen will be leaving the club this summer. But is it worth it, you have to think? Because if Eriksen goes for maybe, say, £100 million, which is a bit optimistic, his contract's running out next year, but if he does, that's only an extra £30 million to invest to get a replacement for Eriksen and a replacement for Dembele. So, I mean, it'd be disappointing to see him go, but if this is the kind of team that we're building, you have to be excited. And Ndombele, apparently, this isn't Sky Sports, some other outlets are reporting that he visited the ground after his international duty with France and before his holiday. And it was believed he was speaking to Pochettino there, and Poch actually managed to convince him to join the club. He said they're building a team this summer that can win the Premier League next season, which is a massive claim to make when you look at the quality that Man City and Liverpool have at the moment. But look, if that's what Pochettino's going for, let's do it. Let's not question it. He's making the signings. He already has a massive team in place with a really good spine, and hopefully this can be the year that he, if that is what he said, he sticks to his word and we go on and we see some silver at the club. But I cannot wait to see Tanguy Ndombele in a Tottenham jersey. Obviously it's not completed yet, only a deal agreed, but I can't imagine there's going to be any problems with personal terms. You know, he has said only last week or the week before that Tottenham is a big club and he can't see why anyone wouldn't be interested in joining them. And also for his medical, having only signed for Lyon last year and he didn't have any injury problems this season, you can imagine if there was any problems with him, it would have showed up in his medical last year. So I'm completely optimistic that this deal will be done, and it's the 26th of June. Pochettino want them done by the 8th of July. It's looking likely. We probably see him on our pre-season tour, and this is a really, really exciting signing for Tottenham. Now, the other news that broke on Sky Sports last night was that we are closing in on a deal to sign 18-year-old Jack Clarke from Leeds United. Now, there are a lot of other media outlets reporting that a deal has been agreed and we're now in discussions with the player for personal terms. But according to Sky, that's not true. We're only closing in on a deal. It's expected to be in the region of £8.5 million, with add-ons rising to approximately £12 million, which, for a player of his potential and of the quality that he does have now, is an absolute bargain. You know, he's a brilliant prospect for the future. He's one that's held in high regard at Leeds. He won the Young Player of the Year award at the club last season, and there was a lot of competition for that in that team fighting for promotion. But he had a really good season. He made 25 appearances in all competitions for Leeds, 22 in the Championship. He scored twice and got one assist, but I don't think that does him justice, because he's in a team where there's a whole lot of talent, especially in those attacking positions. And you've players like Pablo Hernandez, Patrick Bamford, Jamie Shackleton, and Kemar Roof, all in those attacking positions, getting the goals, getting the assists. So I don't think you can judge him solely off the assists, off the stats like that. And also, it was his first season in professional football. He didn't make his debut till October. So he was a standout player for the club. I mean, I watch as much Championship as I can, and because Leeds were in the promotion race, they were on a lot, and he was without a doubt one of the players that stood out in the squad. And that's saying a lot when, as I said, the talent that they have in there. And you know, he's another young English player that could be coming into the club, and we know that's what Pochettino works well with. So you have to be excited about that. Another thing I've mentioned before is that Bielsa and Pochettino, they're so similar in their managerial styles and how they play on the pitch. Obviously, Bielsa was the inspiration for Pochettino getting into football and eventually management, and they play really similar styles of play with that high press, the possession game, the fast tempo when you get in the final third. So Jack Clarke will be already really, really used to our style of play, and it'll be a lot easier for him to integrate himself into the squad because we have such similar players who do similar things to what he was used to at Leeds. Personally, I can't wait to see him in a Spurs jersey. I can't imagine he'll be a regular first team player this season, but moving on to the next couple of years, I imagine we will see him a lot more in the team. There was talk earlier in the window when the rumours first started that we were going to loan him back to Leeds, and that have kind of died down since. But even if that is still to happen, there's no downside to that in my opinion. As I said, the similarities between Bielsa and Pochettino and Leeds and Tottenham, it can be a really good way to get him 1 year further down in his development without him going off into a team that's completely different. He's going to be playing similar football to what's going on at Tottenham. So it'll be very similar play, but at a slightly lower level. So I think it'll be a great idea if he does go out and loan to Leeds for another year. But it'll also be a good idea if he doesn't. I mean, it could end up similar to Ali's situation, go back on loan, get promotion, come back and be straight into the first team. But if he does stay with us, I mean, there can't be a downside to that. He's with the club, he'll be training with the players, maybe getting some game time coming on as a sub or in the cup competitions. But either way it goes, he's a massive, massive prospect for the future. He's so much potential, and he could be one of the best signings for us this summer in terms of value. Because I mean, £8.5 million for a player like him. If you've seen him play, like you know what I'm talking about. So I really hope he does come in, because he at 18 he can come into this team and start learning from players. He can play on the wing or up front. So if he starts learning from players like Son, Lucas, Kane, even Eriksen, if he does stay, you know, there's no telling what he can become like in the future. So I'm really, really excited about this one as well, and I hope they get this over the line. So that's all for this video today. Don't forget to leave down in the comments below what you think about the news that has broken in the last 24 hours or so. And if you'd like more content like this, please subscribe to the channel and don't forget to like the video. Thanks for watching.